single pilot, complex airplane, busy East Coast airspace, and IMC. It's really helpful when you're flying in these sort of semi-demanding conditions that you get the autopilot working for you. And when you know, the autopilot can be your very best friend in these sorts of situations. And there are a couple of key phrases that you hear on almost all IFR flights that should trigger certain actions with the pilot's interaction with the autopilot.
AOPA keeps flying safe, accessible, and fun by protecting your freedom to fly. We are the most trusted one-stop resource for all things related to general aviation. Become an AOPA pilot today.
Pilots do the same things the same way to get consistent results. That's especially true of IFR approaches that tend to follow certain patterns. And certain key phrases from air traffic controllers or oral callouts from onboard avionics can be used to trigger specific pilot actions. First, when an air traffic controller tells me to turn to a heading, that's my cue to activate vectors to final on my GPS navigator. Vectors to final extends the magenta line on my moving map, and that simplifies joining the final approach course.
Charlie Alpha, turn left heading 020, vector sequence.
Left turn 020 for Golf Alpha. Okay, so left turn 020.
Turn left heading of 240, vector sequence.
That's a heading
left
mode,
heading
of course,
$240.
but it's also my cue because we're being vectored for the approach. So it's like, okay, I can go ahead and activate the approach, or I can activate vectors to final. Activate vectors to final. Done.
The next phrase in this airborne game of Simon Says is cleared for the approach. Once ATC tells me I'm cleared for the approach, I reach for the autopilot controls and push the approach button. This commands the autopilot to intercept and track the final approach course as well as any vertical guidance. One big gotcha here is to avoid jumping the gun and pushing the approach button too soon. It's critical to stay on assigned headings until cleared for an approach or given a new heading to follow.
For Golf Alpha, 5 miles from Daylac, clear direct Daylac, crosses at 3,000, cleared ILS runway 8 approach, straight in.
Cleared direct Daylac, cross Daylac at 3,000, cleared for the ILS runway 8 approach for Golf Alpha. Okay, so Daylac, we can go direct to there. Actually, I have to do that. If we want to do it this way, we'll do it in nav mode. And he said, cleared for the approach, cross at 3,000, cleared for the approach. So that is my cue to hit the APR button.
Once cleared for an approach, tracking the final approach course and descending, it's time to reach for the autopilot controls again and set the missed approach altitude.
Okay, now the glide path is armed. The approach is armed. Going all the way down to 600. Once this captures, we'll put in my missed approach altitude of 3,000.
Some avionics systems have an oral callout at 500 feet above the ground, and that's a good time to confirm that the landing checklist is complete and the airplane is stable. The final automated callout is minimums, and that's the moment of truth at which the pilot must either see the runway environment or execute a missed approach. And a missed approach means pressing the go-around button and starting this elaborate game all over again.
Okay, runway in sight.
For a higher initial altitude.
Almost to minimum.
Roger, on request. Flight 245, clear the Dulles Airport S file to maintain a 3,000, expect 6,000, 10 minutes after. Departure 12645.
Okay, autopilot's off.
1572.
Okay, landing assured. I'm just going to go ahead and let go of the visual glide slope at this point.